Hello, everybody, and welcome back for another fun week on Breaking Chains and Taking Names. We have with us tonight special guest Mitch Eckstrom, who is phenomenal in the coaching world and has a very good reputation. A lot of us coaches follow him. He puts out some fabulous content that he shares for free with all of us coaches, and there's a lot of us who have taken advantage of it. So along with me, Money Coach Mary RN, I have my co-host David Smith. Say hi. And Mitch Eckstrom. Would you tell
Hello,
us a little
everybody.
bit about you, Mitch?
Honored to be here. So thanks. You want me to introduce myself now? I'll be glad to
Sure.
do that. Sure. So just kind of standard background. I'm married to Cheryl, and I met her when I was 15. She was 18, the older woman. And we got married in 1977, 2 days before Christmas, because I was home on leave from boot camp for the United States Coast Guard for Christmas. And I labeled her the Director of Homeland Tranquility, lifetime appointment. We just had our 48th anniversary, 3 kids, 4 grandkids, and 1 great-granddaughter who just turned 5.
She's a
Uh,
lovely person. I've met her.
yeah, after 30 years in the Coast Guard, I did civil service with Coast Guard and Navy for another 17 years. And at the end of 2024, retired from working with the U.S. Navy on the largest financial system of its kind in the world.
Wow.
So big data, big computer stuff. So when we talk about the number of data points in the Ramsey universe of tens of millions of people who've done this, right? It works. It's like you just need to align with it. Big data is not wrong. Let us help you see how to navigate your challenges that way. Our Dave story, we were Ramsey students in Finance Peace University in September 2009. One of my top 5 best buddies in the Coast Guard died young of a heart attack. Left a wife, a 14-year-old daughter, and an 11-year-old son. And when we saw the grieving widow, we knew her well enough, besides saying the normal condolences, are you and the kids okay financially? And she said, Keith and I took Financial Peace University through the church 4 years ago. Me and the kids are set financially. Now, I'm the guy who just like, honey, give me some money to spend and you can handle all the bills, right? So I was like, that's another reason my shipmate was awesome. But my wife was like, financial what? Because we were definitely living paycheck to paycheck. And that fall, she signed us up for the class a young couple in our church were teaching. When that was over, I asked that young couple, you think you're going to teach us again? Nope, not planning to. Mind if I do? No, go right ahead. And I've never stopped. So I'm up to 147 Dave classes, 134 of those being FPU, which actually 134 just started last night. So,
Wow.
um, and so I don't know if you want to keep going, but I know this is like what's professional development. So we can talk
Sure it
about that
is.
whenever you want to jump into that. Um, so for me, the 2 primary keys to my professional development as a Ramsey coach, I've been teaching FPU, and then also the network of coaches in this space. It's an incredibly collaborative network. I mean, this podcast is an example of that.
Mhm.
David and you've been around this longer than I have, right? And I know we've had discussions and things going back and forth. I'm just going to drop a couple of names real quick. You will both know Angie Carlson and Christine Seal. Just recently, I had an FPU student with some really bewildering student loan stuff. Angie helped them, cleared it up in like 3 weeks, right?
Mhm.
That's awesome, right? It's
Yeah.
good to be off board that and have someone served very well.
And the funny thing is, Angie Carlson's going to be on the podcast in a couple weeks.
All right, we can.
She's our April 1st person.
Oh well, no irony there. What?
She said, I offered her dates and she goes, I'm a good April Fool's person. I'm like, I don't think so, but okay.
You asked for it.
I call
Be
Bolshevik
careful
on
what
that
you.
one, but
Right.
you
Yeah.
want, I'll put you in.
And of course, Christine Seal, she's an IRS enrolled agent. So, like, she's
Yes.
their hired gun. She knows the tax code better than they do. So, a while back, I got some really specific tax questions from a prospective client. Are they going to hire me or not? Right. Well, so I went and one of my best Coast Guard leaders said, don't ask me a lazy question. You're a professional. When I was a very junior guy, first time I'd been called a professional in my life. That still works on me today. So when I got these questions, I could have called Christine, got the answer in 19 seconds, but I wouldn't have learned anything. So me and Mr. Google and the IRS tax code got acquainted with answers. Turned out they were actually surprisingly clear, right?
Really?
And so I went to Christine and said, here's the question, here's what I've learned. What am I missing? I'm not asking a lazy question. She, validated what I had found and then said, I'd give them this nuance. Other than that, you're good to go. So now I couldn't just parrot a response to these people. And they ended up becoming a client. So, and Angie nor Christine or any of the other coach, I was like, well, send them my way. I'll work with them because we all just, that's an incredible level of collaboration that we have.
That is so true.
Yeah, yeah. So love that. Maybe you guys want to talk a little bit about the time collaboration has blessed you in your own practices or how you've been able to help or be helped by others. So I don't want this to be the Mitch Eckstrom show for the next 20 or 30 minutes or whatever.
It is the Mitch Eckstrom show.
Yeah, today it's all about you. Well, I do have to say one thing. Since you brought up Angie Carlson, I'm going to brag on her for a little bit. She is a very powerful coach. She makes an extreme amount of money per month. She didn't always do that. There was 2 years she went making no money while she was building up where she is, but she built a very strong presence, a very strong confidence. And like when she talks to you, she's going to shake you up and she's going to get you moving. Now, in since you spoke a lot about the Ramsey, being in the Ramsey world, in the Ramsey world, she is known as Queen of Alignable. And so, I mean, she is a very powerful coach. Now, she has been on this podcast 3 times, or this will be her third time. Funny thing is, she was the very first special guest on this podcast.
Oh, how
The
about
very
that?
first podcast we ever had, it was just me and William as we introduced the podcast. The very next one, she was the first guest on. That episode was only 30, I think it was 32 minutes. We had technical issues
Oh
and she
no.
could not stay past. So that episode was 32 minutes.
Right.
Talk about being live and unscripted. Okay, so now we're doing better. Things are going a lot better, a lot smoother. And guess what happens? She shows up and we have issues.
Oh, yeah. It's personal with you, isn't it, Smith? Yeah.
But
Oh my gosh.
but
I'm
now,
sensing a theme there. I don't
May the
know.
third time be the charm.
oh,
May the
third
third
time's going to be
time be the
awesome.
charm. There
You
you
know
go.
why? There's a lot different now. One, we've
Give
got
Money Coach Mary RN.
that's exactly what I was going to
Just
say.
saying.
We've got the Money Coach Mary RN, and we're no longer called Real Talk at the Round Table. We have switched to Breaking Chains and Taking Names. So we're bolder, we're stronger, and guess what? She's bold, she's strong. It's perfect.
I can't
Nice.
wait for that one.
Nice.
And if Aaron
So,
is on, we spoke a little Hawaiian just for Aaron because I know there's 5 viewers right now, and so if Aaron is one of those, aloha.
gotcha. So, of course, collaborative too, we want to give back. And Mary kind of mentioned a little bit on that. So, for over 5 years, I've been hosting free 2-hour webinars for other coaches and Ramsey FPU coordinators who want to join on what have I learned having done all of these courses. So, I provide, gosh, it's been over 100 of those webinars now. And I provide every attendee more than 40 resources they can use however they see fit. Use any, all, or none of it is what I tell them. And how do I pitch that? I say, well, listen, leading finance-based university is a very natural way to serve people like we mean it, right? Because we know that people will hire you if they know two things: can you help me, and do you care? And clients are created in conversation. 9 weeks of great conversation, proving you know what you're talking about and you care deeply, right? So it also sharpens our head and our heart skills. At this point, I've worked with over 3,500 households. So every one of those is a use case, right? So I'm talking with, John and Susie Q, right? And they have a very particular life set of circumstances. The baby steps is a framework. How does that overlay and apply on them, right? So you get to think through that over and over and over and over again. And it happened just last night. It's the third time it's happened since I've been, teaching FPU. This didn't happen until about 100 plus classes, but a student has accidentally called me Dave, and which I get to joke and then say, "Hey, for the record, I had to go T before him or before I heard of him. I think he's copying me." But seriously, that's flattering, I think, right? Just sort of putting that out there. So it does sharpen your head and your heart skills, right? And Dave said this in the original version of FPU when it was 13. Well, the version we took 16 years ago. He said, when you have a reluctant spouse, talk more about why you're doing than what you're going to do. Not, take Finance Peace University and we're going to sell your truck. Well, no wonder your spouse isn't excited about FPU, right? But if you talk about why, and you end up, what would our life be like if, and paint that beautiful picture, and then say, and then he said, what if we became something like, oh, that hit me like a ton of bricks. So I always tell people my theme for all my coaching and teaching is that you will become something more in the process. You kind of can't help it, right?
You're
And
exactly right.
some days we can, regress, but we don't get to stay there, right? It's very
Right.
hopeful. It's very hope filled. So we become something more in the process ourselves, as 12 steppers say, and I'm a big 12 stepper. I led praise and worship for our Celebrate Recovery
Okay.
12 step program for a dozen years at our church. They say it works if you work it. They also say you keep it by giving it away. Well, us 7-steppers can say the same thing. The 7 steps will work if you work them, and you keep it by giving it away. Because truth is truth, right? And if you're dispensing and embracing, even more so if you are a humble practitioner, right? You can't come to people with, you've got problems, I've got answers, look at you. It's like, no, it's like, yeah, we're all in this together, and there, but for the grace of God, go I. So also in these webinars, I always tell them, I say, I want to invite you coaches who've attended these webinars to come and support one of my future FPU classes. And I will introduce you, say, yeah, Mary, you did that one time. It's like, hey, we're so lucky to have Coach Bibb supporting us this class. She's going to offer you a free coaching session. I'm going to offer you a free coaching session. You get a free coaching session just get an FPU class, right? Please take all that coaching, because why? You'd be in good hands with any of us. There's no telling what you'll learn. Mary knows stuff I don't know, and vice versa, right? And because this is needing mostly for you to change your mindset and your management of money, because the money doesn't care what you do with it. It'll do whatever you let it do,
Right.
right?
Right.
Because of that, if you think, oh, I could use some more help than just one coaching session, I really connected with Coach Mary better. Well, if she's the best fit for you, work with her. We all want you to do that. Why? Sooner results, better results. And so that is good for reputation of all coaching, and it frees other coaches to work with for whom they are the best fit. It's exactly how I voice that over in class and say, coaches, if you come, if you're new and you're not really feeling like I want to do that, you can just observe. But really want to encourage you that, because fun fact is, on multiple occasions, my students have hired visiting coaches for that very reason. They're the best fit. So I love that. And
Well,
so
you know,
that's my primary way of giving back to the community. And I'll just keep doing that until they haul me away in a box, right?
you said something real key a little bit ago, Mitch, and I thought it was humorous. You get mistaken for Dave all the time.
Mm, all the time, 3 times so far.
Imagine me,
All the time.
David. Hey, Dave. No, I'm not Dave. That's Ramsey. I'm David.
the Dave, the Dave,
So
right?
that's why I
So
have to be David because I don't want to take his place, which he is starting to retire. But I mean, he is up there in age, so
he told us, he and I are the same age. He told us on the Ramsey cruise in 25, us being like the whole group, says, so they've been working intentionally for 19 years on the handoff. He said 19 years ago, the revenue coming into Ramsey Solutions, called Lampo Group officially, but Ramsey Solutions was 80% Dave Ramsey, 20% everything else. He said that's a recipe for disaster. As of the like 6 months before the cruise, it had reversed 20% Dave, 80% everybody else. He said, interestingly, Sharon and I went on our annual like 2-month vacation, and while we were gone, the ratings went up. And he joked, he said, I was ready to be irrelevant, just not that quickly. Where's all that? It's like, how cool, but how forward looking. And his son Daniel's now the president of the company. He's running it day in and day out. Dave's still the founder, of course, and will always have that title. But that's really intelligent. And that's really a guy not just telling us, hold your money with an open hand, hold that business with an open hand.
Yes.
Right. Right.
So, yeah.
You know, we had that recently here in the neighborhood. I belong to one of the local chambers, and we go to ribbon cuttings. And I went to a ribbon cutting not too far from here, a couple miles, and it was an RV place.
Okay.
That was the offshoot of the original RV place in Hazelwood, so like 25 miles from here. And the guy was talking about his dad. It's a family-owned operation. His dad purchased this property out here in O'Fallon, Missouri, 20 years ago. Forward thinking.
With the idea that.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
Yes. I'm like, holy cow.
Yeah.
Because that 20 years ago, it's grown up exponentially since I've been here 30 years.
Yeah.
But to think 20 years ago, he thought, you know what, we're going to need to move west.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind.
I think one of my favorite things, and that takes a special kind of business mind to see that opportunity that far ahead.
Yeah.
Back to our coaching community, we've talked about there's not a scarcity mentality. Rather, there is a sense of mission. Now, 47 years combined service, Coast Guard, Navy, federal, and military, right? Why do I say mission? Well, for starters, the Ramsey team does use that word, right?
Right.
But let's face it, our culture is producing financially broke, desperate, clueless, ignorant, misinformed people faster than we can help them, right? So this makes them vulnerable, and they grow increasingly desperate. We've seen that. The older people in my classes, my older clients, they have a fire burning under them, and they know, they feel like they're running out of time, right? Right. So that makes them increasingly vulnerable and desperate, and thus ever more susceptible to any number of scams, because everybody's looking for, how do I fix this fast, right?
Right.
So people end up giving away their money, its wealth building potential, instead of keeping it on their side of the ledger, using it to build wealth for their future, and being able to help others do the same, not just in their own family, but beyond. 16 and a half years of us doing this has blessed 5 generations of our family. All of our parents have all gone on to their reward now. Us, of course, all our kids, all the way down to our great granddaughter. And so I tell people, no one can tell me this doesn't work. We are living proof, right? So from where I sit here with 47 years in and around the military, I truly believe we're fighting World War financial insanity, WWFI, I call that, right? And so we need all hands on deck. So we come on and join the community. I always ask my students at the end of class, I said, if this was powerful for you, can I suggest you consider leading an FPU class? And here's how you can do that. Or stealing a line from Dave, I'll deputize you right now to show some single mom or someone who's struggling financially how to do a zero-based budget and get started, right? I mean, people just do that. It's huge for them, right?
It is huge. It is huge.
Yeah. So work on those 3,500 households, right? One of the things I do in those 2-hour webinars, and of course I do this with students as well, is I say, listen, your FPU membership has hundreds of resources, literally. So I walk them through it in I stay 30 minutes of overtime after every class for more in-depth discussions, besides offering the free 90-minute coaching session. So I say, first week, we're going to do a lightning round. You're going to see there's 23 audiobooks. There's 10 other courses. There's hundreds of segments of the Ramsey Show curated for the questions you might have, like, what about insurance? The topic we love to hate, on and on. All like that. How about relationships? Because that's never been a problem with money, right?
Ever.
Right. So those are great. And I show them that. And that same 40 additional resources that I give participants in my deep dives, I give them to the students, right? So for a free one-on-one coaching session, and see if this doesn't resonate with you. In fact, this used to only be 5 items long. It's now 10 items long because of other coaches, right? This is great. So I offer each household a free coaching session. I say, here's the outline, right? You can tell, what are your challenges? What are your desired outcomes? How do we get you there faster, right? And then you can tell me what you want to focus on in that 90 minutes. I send them a form ahead of time. Tell me what you want to talk about. So I can serve you well. That's how I got those tax questions. I want to be prepped to make really good use of that time. But it said, for my students, and I don't think this is salesy. I'm just saying, you get a free coaching session. When would you want to use it? Here are 10 general conditions you'd want to use it. You're facing a crisis and can't focus. Well, that's bad. Bad news does not get better over time. Let's meet now. Get you past the crisis mode, right? Put the fire out. Let's make number 2. You're making good money. I have no idea where it goes. I fit that bill. Oh my gosh, right? So let's sort that out together and get it working for you, your loved ones, and your legacy, right? Because it's beyond, right? We never want to position this. This is only for people who are messed up. Like no, right? Number 3, you feel like you're losing ground and are running out of time. Also me at age 49, right? So let's identify and make the most of every opportunity you have, including the ones you don't see yet. Just because you can't see it, hey, that's what we're for.
That's what we're here for.
Right? Yeah. You're not sure what to do or where to start. Great opportunity to get clear roadmap for progress, right? You're partway through the course and can't see it working for you. I love this one. Ramsey's got tens of millions of data points. Big data is not wrong. Again, just because you can't see it doesn't mean we can't. Let us help you with that, right?
Yep. From the outside, we see what you don't. We help you see those blind spots.
Yeah. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt scar tissue, right? You're partway through the course, you can't see it working with you. This might work for other people, but I'm special. Like no, you're not, right? So the next one is you're real excited and have a million questions. Well, come and try to wear me out. Hadn't happened yet. I was built for this. Didn't know I was built for it. I started doing it. Come on and try, right? This energizes me. I can't believe I get, literally, I get to do this work. This is the one who will hire you. They completed FPU a while back and are not making progress or are back to their old habits. So when I'm unpacking this with them, I say, this is in the welcome to the class email. And at the beginning of the class, I say, oh, by the way, if you want to use this, here's these 10 general conditions. And so I say, my voiceover on this is, well, let's meet before you lose more time and momentum. And oh, by the way, this means this offer is open-ended. You don't have to use it in the next 9 weeks or next 9 months. But I make the joke. I'm 66. Don't wait 15 years. I might not remember, or I might be dead, right? It's probably too long to wait. But those are the ones that'll hire you because they're like, oh, this change in me thing is harder than I thought. I could use some guidance, right? So,
absolutely.
All right. So, major life events, like marriage, divorce, pregnancy, birth, adoption of a child, starting to invest, bereavement, illness, injury, legal entanglement, starting or restarting school, graduation, career change, promotion, job, partial list, right? Of all the things could be. So it's kind of like, well, now what? That's a great time to have that free session, right?
Correct.
Last 2 are level up. I'm stuck and I want to get unstuck, or I'm on the brink over of made a breakthrough. Kind of now what, right? And then the last one, curiosity. Let's just see what this is all about.
Right.
Yeah, check it out, see the value it holds for you and yours. And so just email me, set it up. David was asking me of a website. I have no web presence, don't plan to get it. I work by word of mouth. And I gave Dave's got my email. If anybody wants to reach out to me, I'd love to just have a discussion with you. Start with a simple discussion on how could serve you well. And I always want to funnel people, come take the class first. Don't hire me unless you really think you want to.
Right.
And then and here's my elevator pitch. And I was told this line from one of the program managers on my super huge financial system that I retired from. And to read it to you, it's 4 sentences. Time is our mutual enemy. We need to make the most of it. Coaching is an investment in accelerated progress. It provides you with increased clarity, confidence, focus, structure, accountability, and belief in yourself in the process, propelling you forward faster than you thought possible.
That's good.
So, and that's part of the resources I send out. I tell the coaches, feel free to repurpose that, make it use any, all, or none of it, right? Because that didn't happen overnight. That was something I grew into, right? So love doing this. Can't believe I get to do the work. Ephesians 3:20 says, now to him who is able to do exceedingly abundantly more than we can ask or imagine, according to God's power at work within us.
Right.
What? I'm gonna be you. What?
Yeah. What? Huh?
Yeah. Huh? Right. And then,
This girl?
and I'm sure you guys, you've done this long enough. You people
Mhm.
have really deeply complimented you on how you have changed their life. I love the way Dave always deflects. I just showed you how. You did the work.
Mhm.
I'll go to Ephesians 2:10. For we are God's workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in. It's not even my idea. I
Nope.
can't believe God would use this joker 16 and a half years ago. I had nothing good to say about money, right? I had opinions, but you looked at my life. That's why when we started this, I started to turn Dave into a cuss word because my family's all like, "Yeah, you, yeah, sure, you're gonna, yeah, you found something out that's worth it."
You're one of those, huh?
Now they're all doing it because after a while I learned I had to shut up and just let my changed life be the testimony. Now they're all doing it, and everyone was like, "We should start it sooner." Yeah, well, me too. And I'm sorry that my enthusiasm and my lack of credibility. I was not a humble practitioner. I wasn't. I've got it was like, oh, I got the answer. It wasn't like, my gosh, I've been a disaster. I wished I'd known this sooner. To the best of my ability, I'm going to practice this.
Mhm.
Would you be my moral support? That would have been the approach. More pull, not push.
Right.
So I try to be a pull guy, not a push guy. So yeah,
Luckily, our girls have watched what we have done. My middle child, she gets it. Has paid cash for 2 cars and works hard and knows the beauty and the point that work equals money. You want something, you work for it.
yep,
And my oldest, the girl needed a car. And so she pulls up in the driveway. Wow, come outside. I'm thinking, what's going on? She bought a car and she goes, Mom, I had to get a little bit of a loan. I said, do you think I'm going to stop loving you because you got a loan? And she said, no. And then she came to me like 3 months later and she goes, I'm really thinking about paying it off, taking the money out of my emergency fund and paying it off. I said, what will that leave you as an emergency fund? She said $2,000. I said, okay, in my teaching, you take it down to 1,000, you pay off your debt. The only thing she had. And her fiance is like, oh, I don't think you ought to do that because what if something happens and this and that? And she says, honey, I love you, but mom has lived this and she knows some stuff. So she paid the car off.
yeah. Well, and you're a humble practitioner, and she's like, and of course the math, no car payment. How fast can you build that back up?
Right.
Right? Yeah,
Right. I said, just put what you were paying
yeah.
back in there. You'll have that money before you know it. It wasn't even that much.
So I love that. It's like there's a movie, I can't remember, it was one of the Kendrick brothers movies, and the guy is the dad at the end, kind of, he's got a new fresh vision for fatherhood after he lost a 9-year-old daughter in tragedy. But
Mm-hmm.
he's saying to the fathers in the room, our children are the message we send to a future we'll never see. So I always tell people, I said, you do these baby steps, even halfway, reserve the right to get smarter. One of my best Coast Guard leaders would always say that he'd be briefing like cabinet level government officials, like secretary of, right? And he'd always say, this is our best analysis this time, but we reserve the right to get smarter. Well, hello, right? We're all works in progress. We're all becoming something more.
Right.
So
Nobody's perfect.
yeah, so we have a couple of great stories from our own life, right? Talking about we will influence people we'll never see and generations will never meet, right?
Mhm.
So for us, granddaughter number 2 bought her first car for cash 3 months before she had her driver's license. So I'm test driving, she can't even drive the thing. Her uncle, my son, who's a mechanic, you know, coached her up to go find how to find a good used car. So we're test driving it. It's great, right? And so I turn around driving, and she's sitting in the back. He's sitting next to me. I'm doing the Dave negotiation, just be quiet. And he's giving stuff away as the longer we drive and the quieter I am, right?
Yeah.
I just told him, I said, well, listen, she's been saving money since she was 13 for this, right? It's all her money, right? He said, and she wants to pay cash for it, right? He looked at her like a unicorn, and he came down 10% on the price, just like that. And he said, you said your son's a mechanic. Please take the car for the weekend. Just don't lose my dealer plates. I want you to be 1000% satisfied. He wouldn't even take deposit money, right? Because we had prayed for favor with the decision maker, but also she was such a unique case. She's serving with the Marines in the U.S. Navy as a corpsman. They're being deployed somewhere west where there's trouble right now on a big fat ship. Hopefully they don't have to go break things and destroy people. Maybe they'll be done before they get there. But anyway, that said, she's got more money than any 5 of her friends put together, and they think she's the weird one. So you just keep being weird. For our great granddaughter, who just turned 5, got her social security number at about 1 month old. We've heard of the Trump account. So Cheryl and I put $5,000 in an account for her. If that just grows at the average rate of the stock market till she's 70, it's going to be $21 million. Now if she adds 100 a month on average to it, it's going to be 63, right? So here's the incumbent on us. We had better teach that young lady whose it is and what it's for. Not just not to turn you into Ebenezer Scrooge yet.
Right.
Or God forbid Paris Hilton, right? So a little stinky trust fund baby, right? Anyway, because it could destroy her if she doesn't have the strength of character. I think there's a blessing that it takes time for wealth to build over time.
That is so agreed. I so agree with that, Mitch.
Yeah.
What about you, David? Do you think the same thing?
I really do. There's key in, the right planning smart. And you said it key, Mitch. Um, if you keep it the standard. However, like last year, I had clients making 26 on average, but I had one client making 28% last year. Last year was a strange year. The average is 12%.
Yep.
This year is still doing pretty good. But, there's going to be a time that it's going to be less, but it always averages out. Um,
Well, you got to
so,
be like Dave says, you have to be an investor, not a speculator.
yep.
And you stay in. When people say you can't, I tell them 12% in class, you can't get 12%. Well, maybe you can't, but I'm averaging 15.73 for 0.93 for the last 16 years, all the ups and downs included.
Right.
I know why you're not getting it because you're jumping in and out trying to time it.
So I do have a good thing to say. To Aaron's second thing, no, not at all. But the first thing, he was going to one of our people that's in our room. He was going to update his vehicle, and he purchased one for his daughter and her husband, and they are now debt free. Now, for those people out there, you should always have a car payment. However, you should never have a car payment. And what I mean by that is your car is paid off, but you still make the car payment, just like Mary said earlier, and Mitch, you just make it to yourself. So instead of paying interest, you earn interest. That way, when it's time for a new car, to be able to plop to it because you've been saving. But you save faster because not only do you put the money in, but you're earning interest.
Yeah, you throw that in a high yield savings account, whew, you're making some bank.
Or if your window's 3 to 5 years or longer, put it in the market.
Yeah.
Right. There's only been in a 3-year period, you have about a 30% chance of maybe having less. In a 5-year period, it's less than a 10% chance of having less. But the upside is huge. It's averaging 12%. So
Sure.
even high yield, if you're getting 3.5, right? Inflation is 3.5. Look back 75 years, inflation has averaged 3.5%. So you're treading water, right? So if you got a longer time, right? I just bought a car, it's good for 8 years, right? Let me put it in the market, and then I'll have a lot more interest income added to.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
David, it's interesting, 'cause we told our granddaughter, okay, now you don't have a car payment, keep making one. And when, we'll never know the truth. We think she was probably texting and driving when she rear-ended her sister and pushed her sister into a car in front of her,
Oh,
totaled
oops.
her sister's car and her car, thankfully not the car in front of them, right? But the second car she bought cash was nicer. And so she was 15. She was like 16 and a half, 7. No, she's 17. Was nicer than the car I was driving as an officer in the United States Coast Guard at age 27, and I had a car payment. So that's changing our legacy.
And it's
Same way with
changing the
her. I'm like,
legacy.
baby, do not fall in love with God's money.
Mhm.
Right? I had the opportunity to ask Dave in his home one night. We had paid to be there, part of a 60-person, cadre that was going to have a reception at Dave's house at Enrichment one year. Of course, we want to go to that. But if I see someone's life that I respect and I have the opportunity, I'm going to ask them, how do you cultivate genuine humility? Because without that, boy, it can become about you so easily, right?
Mhm.
So I also, fortunately, I was literally walking through the house looking for the bathroom. I'm coming back, here's Sharon. Oh, she's talking to some of the lady coaches. So actually I had the opportunity to ask her, and she went to 2 points, relationships and accountability. These people have permission to call you on your stuff, right?
Mhm.
And vice versa. So
Mhm.
then when you get to ask Dave Ramsey, he said, I'd like to ask you a question. I just asked Sharon, you have his complete attention. He said, I'm probably not going to ask it to answer it as she did. I said, I don't think it's that kind of question. I asked him. He gave a 4-part answer, which aligns with hers.
Mhm.
You can tell the dude's thought about this. He says, first of all, I had the blessing of losing everything.
Mhm.
He said, I was 26 years old, self-made millionaire, thought I had the world by the tail. The Lord, and brand new believer, the Lord thoroughly disabused me of that. He taught me, and so I got the phrase, whose it is and what it's for.
Right.
Right. Second, my team. No one here at Ramsey Solutions is here to kiss Dave's pinky ring. We are all, remember every day our mission, who we work for, and who we're supposed to serve in his name. Number 3, I call them my Eagles Club. It's 10 men who have as big or bigger companies than me, as many or more bestsellers than I have, and none of us care. Our job is to watch each other's lives as closely as we can and make sure we're not believing our own press. So if I'm doing a hit in Good Morning America in New York, and I start to sound like I'm believing my own press, more than one of those guys is probably going to call me. Dave, what are you doing? Right? Do you remember whose it is and what it's for? Right? We're good. He says, and lastly, my wife says, Sharon Ramsey is not impressed with Dave's little business. She already saw him lose one. My job is to be his husband, daddy, and granddaddy to these babies and keep enough money flowing through to keep the lights on. And that's it. And we are standing in his $15.34 million mansion. I know that because it was on sale on the market for that price. A home he had taken a lot of heat for building. No one needs a house that big, whatever, right? So he addressed that on air. And it's like he was moving out like the next day, the movers coming to pack them out.
Mhm.
So he goes on here and says, why am I selling my statement home that I took so much grief for? He says, because I violated my own advice and I overbuilt the neighborhood.
Overbuilt neighborhood.
While this real estate market is hot, I'm going to unwind this thing because it is still God's money. Now he's telling 16 million people, blew it, fixing it.
Mhm.
How reassuring for us mere mortals, right?
Right.
That he's leading by example even when he goofs up, right?
Mhm.
Well, one thing Dave said all the time is we all do stupid. Some people just have bigger stupids. Like Dave's story, even in the beginning, he did a lot of big stupids. We've all done stupids. We've done big. I don't know if we've done as big as Dave, but we might not have as much money as he does. But we all do stupids.
Probably in
And
proportion to this.
and we always have to, no matter what, live, or I like to use it this way. Whether you preach or not, it's not even about preaching, but practice what you preach. If you say it, do it.
Mhm.
Oh, I hear you there. I did, Dave talks about doing ish. I ished for 5 years while I was nonstop teaching the class. Oh yeah. It's like, and I tell people, don't be Mitch, don't do ish. And I show them on the investment calculator, Here's effectively what I did. If these were my numbers, then are not mine are actually worse. Here's the multi-million-dollar self-inflicted punch in the nose I gave myself for not being a gazelle, right? I could have been debt-free in a year. I decided to take 5 because I thought I was smarter than Dave Ramsey. I wasn't willing to sacrifice deeply, right? I will never make up those 4 years. It's still the ish plan was better than a no plan, but I had to start, to your point, David, I had to start eating my own dog food, practice what I preach, right? So when I say be a humble practitioner, it took me a while, right?
Well, it's funny because when I first came into the Ramsey program, I was in debt over $300,000. I had just bought a brand new car, showroom car, right out of the showroom, a month before I came into the Ramsey program. Now, I was told I got too much of a car, but I travel 70 miles one way to work, and I work a lot, so I needed a car that was dependable. And this car drove by itself. It was actually the first one of the first ones to drive by itself. I was like, no, I need one that's dependable and can get me from A to B. But for the amount of debt you have too much of a car. Now, I had a good credit score. I was a 758, but I had too much of a car for the debt I had. Now, my first 9 weeks, I nailed $90,000. So you say I was Gonzella intense, right? But I never got rid of my car. I was like, I still need a good car. So I say I was not Gonzella intense until I got rid of that car.
One of my classes, people were pushing back about the difficulty of baby step 2. And a single mom put in the chat, I'm a single mom. I've paid off $90,000 in the last 6 months. And I was
Wow.
like, wow, could you come off mute and share how you did it? And she shared how she did it. She still had $5,000 to go. She had freed up $2,500 a month. So 2 months, she's gonna be completely debt free. I said, and then what? And she was just like baby stepping, orthodoxy. This is the textbook answer. I'm doing it. So I turned to the class and said, listen, I don't know about you. I wished I'd heard this when I was a student because I was ishing, but she just took our excuses away. She had some big major muscle movements of money she did. I don't know what yours are, but you have them too. Are you willing? That's up to you, right? That class until just my last class, 130, class 132, class 131, that class paid off the most debt in the remaining 7 weeks because I happened to be 2 of any class I'd ever taught up to that date. Yeah,
Well, and I'll
just
tell you, with me, what made the biggest impact is the very first class I went to. This class ain't for me. I'm not going back. And I was told, no, you need to learn those principles. You're going back
told by who?
by the greater powers.
Okay, fair enough.
Um, I
Big
went
guy.
back. I went back for the second class, and like I said, I have a 758 credit score. Or back then, I had a 758 credit score. I had 10 credit cards. 9 of them had a very small charge every single month, and they were paid off every single month. One of them was maxed out 3 times and paid off 3 times every single month. I had available credit just on the credit cards of over $100,000. The one I maxed out 3 times every month was $10,000. But the reason I had so many, so I had a low credit utilization, which helped my credit score out. I played the game. So after class 2, got to cut up those credit cards. I'm not cutting up those credit cards. Class 3, I cut 9 of those 10 up. Because it was easy, 9 of those cards also got closed, paid off and closed, and not recharged. The one that was the hardest is the one that I maxed out 3 times because I put everything on there and I have to switch how I'm doing it. But because I had someone that was pushing me for learning the principles, I knew it had to get applied into my life. Now, because of my brother, I learned the principle of practice what you preach a long time ago. So that's always been in my head. If you're going to say it, do it. And I'm having this voice basically yell at me saying, you're going to do this, and pushing me into progress. Now, yes, I was stubborn. I had that car for probably about 8 months. But other than that, I was knocking out debt.
Were you taking the courses back to back?
Yeah, it was 9 weeks straight. It was in the church. I took the course in church. After that course changed my life, I became a coordinator.
Okay, gotcha. Yep.
Then I started becoming a Ramsey coach and then a preferred coach and just working the way up that way. But my very first class, I was not part of Ramsey, but I was part of Ramsey. I took the course in church, and they do the course every year in my church. Guess what? The second year, I'm the one that taught it.
Yeah. But you said on your third course, if I heard you correctly,
Our
that's when you cut up
class.
the class. That's when you cut up the cards. So were
Yep.
you taking those 9 weeks, then another 9 weeks, and another
Nope.
nine back to back? Okay, there was a break in between.
Nope. It was class one. Very next week, class two. So the
Right.
first week,
That's that. You took them back to back.
yep.
Got it. Okay.
So the
Yep. Yep.
first class, I was set into my head when I left the class, I'm not going back. And I got a voice that says, no, you need those principles. You're going back.
Right.
Very next week, I showed up for class two. You're cutting up your credit cards. Oh, no, I'm not. Class three, I walked in with
Sure,
nine of
you're
my
not.
10.
There you go.
Matter of
Nice.
fact, one of them was metal. And so in my head, I'm like, okay, sucker. So I cut up 8 of the cards. Some of them were difficult, most of them were easy. Then I played a little game. I'm like, okay, sucker, I'll see how you can do this. So I knew I couldn't cut this ninth credit card up because it was a metal credit card. So I was just like, this card is too difficult for me to cut up. Now, it's physically too difficult for me to cut up, but I was trying to do emotional to play to kind of like see if they can cut it up. I'm trying to play with them, right? So the guy leading the class comes and says, "Oh, no problem. I can take care of it for you." Grabs it, realizes it's a metal card, says, "Hold this for a second." Goes out to his car, comes back in with tin snips, and I was like, "Wait a second, it's supposed to be that easy."
There you go.
But
Yep.
no,
There's a tool for that.
what ended up
Who taught
happening
who there?
is I had a force that was pushing me. I had a very good job, but that was just normal. But it also changed my habits. So I ended up getting a part-time job. I also ended up doing 3 side hustles, and I also now Dave says sell everything you have, right? I did a little trick. I didn't sell it. I took everything that was extra and I donated it. Now you're trying to get out of debt. Why are you donating stuff? That was just me. But because of that, I knocked out so much. Now, in the first 9 weeks, I did make one deal with one place that was able to wipe out $15,000 with only $2,000.
Nice.
So you negotiated with a lender successfully as well. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Coach on
that
that
did help
all
out
the
some of that
time.
balance.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
And
Love
it
it.
was funny because, they called me, was like, okay, I stopped paying things. I'm like, I'm going to renegotiate, do all this kind of stuff. And this one was like real aggressive, was like, hey, look, you're going to pay this off. I was like, no, I'm not. And I told him, I says, I'm in the Dave Ramsey program. You will get paid, but not right now. And I had somebody that was helping, teaching me and stuff like that, really working with me, and really helped me out. And so I just basically was very firm with them. He tried everything. I'm going to go after your family. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I mean, he was brutal. Didn't phase me.
He was lying.
Yeah, didn't phase me. And then so 3 weeks later, he calls me back up. He's like, okay, I realize you're in the Dave Ramsey program, and there's nothing I can do to get you to make a payment. So can we work out an agreement? I was like, well, what do you have in mind? I want this taken care of sooner than later. What is it going to take to get this put higher than all your others? And maybe as honest as I am, and I was just like, you know what? I'll tell you what. I've already knocked out all my credit cards. I've already knocked out this. I've knocked out that. I started talking to him about some of the stuff I've knocked out. And I said, right now, you're still 42 in line. And he says, well, how can I bump it up even closer? Well, my next debt that I have to pay off is this amount of money. So in order to get bumped up higher than that, you have to be less money than that. And he's like, okay, well, if I knock it down to $4,000, will you pay it off right now? No, because there's two higher than you or two lower than you. But if you knock it down to $2,000, I'll get you paid off right now. He's like, okay, I'll make it $2,000. I pulled out my debit card. The guy's sitting right next to me, and I'm pulling out my debit card like this. Guy sets it and pulls it down like this. Get it in writing first. And I says, I have the money to pay you right now. Send me an email on company letterhead that has it written there, and I make the payment right now. But I
Yep.
want it in writing. And once it's paid off, I also want a statement that says paid in full.
I
Before
don't
I
even
got
care
off
if
the
they I don't
phone,
even care if they say settled in full for less than owed. Settled in full are the key words. Less than owed means they're going to write off the rest as a tax loss. But you
yep,
need that settled in full statement because if they sell that bad, in your case, $13,000 worth of debt to someone else, and they come after you, you can say, sorry, I settled in full. I'm sorry you purchased a uncollectible debt. Sounds like you got an issue with the person that sold that to you. But
yep.
goodbye, right? Yeah.
So
That
before I
was
got
the
off the phone call,
best.
he said, I already sent you the email. I had to use a different computer, pull up my email, check to see it was there. And I asked the guy, says, is this good enough? He says, yes, it is. I says, okay, and he's like, no, don't do that. And he gives me another card. He says, use this one. I was like, huh? So I used that one. It only had $2,000 on it.
Mm.
Yep.
He says, don't give them access to your account.
They'll draft out of it the next
Yep.
a bigger amount, and you will never get it back. Yep,
So
yep.
I gave him the $2,000, and later on I had to give the other guy $2,000 to pay it, but it was a prepaid card. And what he does is he had several of them that had 1,000, and several of them had 2,000, but he had one that had just 2,000 on it because he does this kind of stuff all the time. He's like, use this, and then I paid him the money, which covered it, but it was taken care of. But he's like, no, you don't pay that kind of money, not
This
off
is
of
a
your account.
this is a great example of the collaborative spirit. Like you're given a textbook class for anybody listening on how to negotiate with lenders, make sure they protect themselves in the process.
Yep,
And we would say if people have the ability to pay it, we'd recommend you be a person of honor. You signed up for that ride, and that's part of your, as Dave would say, stupid tax. Pay it if you can, but if you can't, there's ways to negotiate with integrity.
yeah,
Um, but we can gain from these from one another at least three things, right? And I think we've seen that tonight: instruction, inspiration, and conviction, right? I've learned something.
Mhm.
I'm kind of excited, and well, if they're willing to do it, why am I not willing to do it, right?
Right.
Or if that joker can do it, why can't I do it, right? So yeah, love that, love that. The strength in the power of positive peer pressure.
That is so
so
true.
the benefit to me is I had a higher power pushing me, but then the people in the class, there was people that were in the class that have done it before, and because I was actually real close to where Ramsey was, Ramsey himself actually visited the class. Not the class that I was currently in, but he visited the class while I was there.
Mhm.
So I was like, sweet. But I had powerful mentors that seen something in me. And that's the power of a coach that will do it with you. When
Mhm.
you get with a coach, they will encourage you, they will push you, they want you to succeed. It's not about them. Like if I go to Mary, it's not about Mary succeeding. She's not going to make millions off of me. But if she can inspire me, if she can push me, then she feels good. If I go to Mitch and he can encourage me and he can push me, it's not going to improve him. He's not going to make millions off of me, but he's going to feel good because he helped another person grow.
It is our mission.
That's right.
What we're put on this earth to do, serve one another. I just had that conversation with a prospective client this afternoon.
Yep.
We were put on this earth to serve one another.
Yep.
And we do that to the best of our ability.
And
Yeah, my
speaking of that, about
tagline is,
and
go ahead, David. I'm
what's
sorry,
that?
go ahead, David.
And speaking of that collaboration and stuff like that, especially with how people that are in the Ramsey network, the Ramsey Preferred Coaches community is closing pretty soon. So a lot of the coaches have been going to other communities, and there's other things going like that around as well. And you know what? Speaking of which, this one here has a community. Right here on this YouTube channel. The first 1,000 subscribers get into the directory that goes out to other people completely free. So make sure you subscribe. And on Fridays, we have a chat where we just talk, we have fun. By the way, all the links are in the description below. Mitch earlier was talking about getting a hold of him, and he was talking about his email. His email is in the description below that you can reach out to him. All the information we share here is always for your benefit, and we like to share as much as possible. We also have something new, all live events that are public access. There's actually a calendar now where you can join and see all the different events. If you're unalignable, there's 3 smart connects that you can join in on: Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. We have these podcasts. You can see the guest speaker ahead of time to know who they are, what their topics are. It's really nice. Also, in the mornings, we have a daily prayer. Most days, you can see what days on the calendar. Fridays, we have a coaches thing where we just talk, just no agenda. We just enjoy each other, you know? So come plug in wherever you can plug in, whatever you can do, whatever's going on is going to be on there. Also, currently speaking right now, we've been talking about Ramsey's program, Financial Peace University. We have a new version of that. It's called Financial Breakthrough Foundations. It takes a 9-week course and it puts it into 4 weeks. It's just the foundations. It gives you everything real quick, very fast, and that's on Mondays. And matter of fact, this next week coming up is going to be the second class. So make sure you check that out because it's phenomenal. It's free, by the way. Right now, everything is completely free that we're talking about. So get plugged in wherever you can. I just figured that was perfect time to mention all that stuff.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. You mentioned about Mary says why we're put on this earth as Dave Ramsey has the great live like no one else, so later you can live and give like no one else. So kind of leveraging off that thought process, my tagline is eliminate debt, build wealth, gain financial speed going uphill, and make the world a better place.
Ooh, I like that.
I thought of adding starting with your place, but I think a triplet is better than a quadruplet. So I just stopped. It's kind of implied that you start with your place, but
I like that, Mitch.
yeah. So, but yeah, great stuff.
So that's going to be his quoted famous tag now.
Oh, it's on all my signature blocks to my students. Again, part-time on purpose, word of mouth. So thanks for letting me come on tonight.
Yep, and it was definitely a blessing having you. Mary does all the bookings of the podcast or the live cast, the video cast. We are also starting to be on Spotify, so you catch it here on YouTube live, and then you can also catch the after matches on Spotify. They don't get posted immediately. There is a delay on Spotify, but it does all get posted on Spotify now. I think last week is the first one that's going to get posted, and then this one will get posted. Each one will get posted. They're just, I think there's a little bit of a delay, but they're all getting posted. So there's going to be many places that you can see these podcasts once they get up, but live, it's a live cast or video cast. So
Right.
they're awesome. Check them out. This one was about 2 keys for professional development. And thank you so much, Mitch, for sharing. And I know Mary is going to get you back on here eventually later on down the road.
Absolutely. I enjoyed it, Mitch. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mary. Mary, Dave and I love the gab, and Dave probably does too. You didn't get to say much. What are your closing thoughts as we wrap this up tonight?
Right?
Yeah.
My tagline is you just got to do the dang thing. It's going to suck at times. There's going to be some FOMO, but on the other end, you're going to be glad you did.
Doing life on your own terms. Yeah. Love it.
Well, that's a great thought. And as Mary says, let's all just say it.
Let's do the
Just
dang
do the dang
thing.
thing.
Do the dang thing.